Hello, so today is my sick day. I have been sick with this cold for about a week and a half, and if my voice comes and goes or sounds gravelly, that is why. It's because I am sick. So I recently read that there's a new poll out that Hillary Clinton now leads Trump by 11 points. Because there was a video released of Trump saying some things in 2005. And when I first heard about this tape, I thought, okay, he's been saying offensive things for over a year and a half, longer, really, but since he's been running for president, there's been all sorts of things that he said that have been disgusting. How is this the thing that's going to make Republicans think, oh no, I'm not going to vote for him? I also know that there's this phenomenon going on wherein sometimes polls aren't totally accurate because people don't want to come out and say that they're supporting Trump because he's so controversial. So I wonder if that's what's going on. I wonder if these people who polled saying that they don't support Trump are going to end up voting for him anyway. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in about a month. I think it was last week I went on Tumblr and I got angry, as I usually do when I go on Tumblr, because I found this really condescending post saying that you must register to vote and you must vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm pretty tired of going on Tumblr and seeing people saying, oh, if you don't vote the way that I want you to vote, you are throwing away your vote. Okay, first of all, you guys didn't give a shit when our votes were actually thrown away here in California, so it's really fucking annoying that in the primaries, when there's voter suppression, all this bullshit, crickets are chirping, and then once the general's coming up, it's like, oh my god, don't throw your vote away by voting the way you actually want to vote. Now, here's my problem. I made a video months ago, I think it was back in March, called On Not Voting. And in that video, I was talking about these communists that I had run into who tried to talk me out of voting for Bernie Sanders, not because they had a better candidate in mind, but I don't know, as like a protest, and I thought that makes no sense whatsoever. I called it On Not Voting, but I was really talking about the people who don't vote because of a protest. But there's another group of people who don't vote because they're disenfranchised. They have become passive because they're discouraged by the system. And it's not necessarily, I'm gonna not vote to stick it to the man. It's just, I'm not gonna vote because I have nothing to vote for. So my problem with the condescension that I see towards people who are saying, you must vote for Hillary Clinton, you have no other option, is that I think that they are attacking people who are the symptom of a problem rather than actually critiquing the problem itself. There are people who do not vote because they do not believe that they have any real power. So it's kind of strange to say, oh no, you do have power, you have so much power, you should go out and vote, you should absolutely register and vote. Vote. But at the same time, vote for what I want you to vote for. So you're saying you have power, but don't want too much, which makes people, again, feel very discouraged because they think, well, do I actually have any real power if I don't have an actual choice? So if you're going around saying you don't have an actual choice, don't delude yourself. And if you characterize people who want an actual choice as babies, that's not going to convince people to your cause. That's just going to piss people off. That's just going to make people want to not vote even more. People talk about why you should vote in the sense that your vote matters, and, if all the people who said, I don't vote because my vote doesn't really count, if they all voted, then they could actually swing an election. That depends, though, on where they live and what they're voting for. But then there's also some people, they live in a blue state or a red state, and no matter who they're voting for president, it's not really going to do anything. Even if your little vote
doesn't get that person elected into office, whatever you voted for would happen or wouldn't happen regardless of whether or not you vote. Yes, that's definitely the case a lot of the time. However, voting is a great opportunity for you to represent your demographic. Politicians are going to cater to the demographics that have very strong voter turnout rates. So in the Republican Party, the voter turnout rate for evangelicals is very high. They are very dedicated, very loyal voters. They vote often and they usually vote Republican. And that makes a huge difference in that a lot of Republicans then end up catering to these people because they're the ones that vote. On the other side of that, on the Democratic Party, we have heard a lot about the black votes, more over the primary season than over the general election. And that's because in 2012, for the first time ever, the voter turnout for black voters exceeded voter turnout for white voters. Obviously, there's more white people in the country than black people, but what I mean is that of the black people who exist in this country and who are eligible to vote, a higher percentage of them voted than the percentage of white voters or voters of any other race. On top of that, about 90% of them voted Democrat. No other race of people is that loyal to a specific party. So that is a big reason why during the primary season there was a lot more talk about race, Black Lives Matter. There was a debate held in Flint, Michigan. It's because black people vote. Now, going back to the idea of third-party voters, swing voters and stuff, their vote also makes a difference in that they're showing that they are willing to vote. They're willing to vote Democrat sometimes, but only if the Democrat that is there is actually worth voting for. So I don't think that you can run a campaign based off of guilt and shame alone. Like, I don't think that it really serves the Democratic Party to say, oh yeah, the Democratic Party sucks, Hillary sucks, her foreign policy is awful, but look at the Republicans, because there's going to be some people, you might not agree with them, but there are going to be some people who seriously do not see a difference. For me, my big problem with Hillary is not her personality. It's not that, she's trying to appear cool but isn't successful in appearing cool. It is her foreign policy, imperialism. That's something that I don't quite want to support. And I think that instead of going off of shame, instead of being judgmental towards people who have serious concerns, I think that instead we need to attack the problem instead of attacking the symptoms of the problem. That is to say, I want to know if this conversation of you need to vote blue no matter who, are we going to have an identical conversation to that in 4 years from now, in 12 years from now, in 20 years from now? Will anything ever actually change? If we all have the same values, we all see the flaws in Hillary in terms of like her foreign policy and stuff, but we also find Trump to be disgusting. What are we gonna do in the long run, not just in terms of this presidential election? Because to be honest, I feel like you'd be more successful in convincing people to vote for Hillary if people knew that there was a long-term plan that we're working towards. And I don't mean to put the onus specifically on like Hillary voters or specifically on third-party voters. We should all come together and have that discussion, and that is why I'm making this video, to be honest. Yeah, the reason why I'm wearing different clothes, by the way, is because my computer completely fucked up like the second half of this video that you watched, so I decided to refilm it. It's November 6th, so in 2 days we're gonna find out what happens. And I guess I'll see you after the apocalypse on Tuesday. Feel free to disagree with me if you want. Leave a comment if you wish. But, hopefully in a respectful and productive way. Bye.